Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make me go. But it's also let it change begin from within. Look at you, oh Gerula. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
This message was brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
It's the only radio network in Nigeria. The network that attracts over 40 million high net worth individuals. Unarguably, the only radio channel that draws key decision makers through incisive and up-to-date news, scintillating sportscasting, and exciting programming. Radio Nigeria Network Service, the haven for discerning investors who wish to reach their target audience at the lowest cost per thousand. Your brand and corporate image deserve nothing less than a sustained exposure on Radio Nigeria Network Service. Try us today.
The time is 8 o'clock. Very good morning to you and welcome to the program Politics Nationwide. It's live on Radio Station of the Year, Africa's largest radio network, the network service of Radio Nigeria. On this program, you get authentic angle to politics and political development. This is because we give you only the truth, nothing but the truth. Politics Nationwide is a program that's unbiased analysis of Nigeria's political updates and in-depth analysis of political happenings in the country. My name is Tokbe Ojime. That's right. Once again, thanks for joining us. Now we'll begin this Tuesday morning of the program Politics Nationwide with political tidbits.
Welcome to Politics Nationwide. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has charged its electoral officers, EOs, to offer views and criticisms on the recent general election, admitting that no poll is perfect. The chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, made the call at the 2019 post-election review session with electoral officers from 19 states in Abuja. Professor Yakubu said the commission was open to criticism on elections from stakeholders, especially the electoral officers who were not just members of the commission but took active part in the conduct of the exercise. He explained that critics of the elections would help to improve the country's electoral process. In the meantime, the senator representing the Gombe South Senatorial District of Gombe State, Senator Amos Bulus, wants the federal government to massively recruit security personnel to inject vigor into the current fight against insurgency in the Northeast. Senator Bulus, who stated this in an interview with Politics Nationwide in Abuja, said though terrorism could not be completely eradicated, providing adequate manpower and equipment could stem the activities of the insurgents. Senator Bulus said he would ensure effective representation and strive to unite his people for the development of the area. He also appealed to traditional rulers in Gombe South to work as a team to prevent youth restiveness in the zone. From Nasarawa State comes a report that the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Movement (PDM) in this year's elections in the state, Mr. Musa Nagogo, said his withdrawal of petition against Governor Abdullahi Sule is in the interest of peace. Mr. Nagogo had dragged the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal for alleged omission of his name and logo of his party from the ballot paper. He told journalists in Lafia that he withdrew his petition due to appeal from stakeholders within and outside the state. From Nasarawa State, we move on to Kogi State, where a former president of the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, Dr. Idris Omede, who is seeking the PDP ticket to contest the November 16 Kogi State governorship election, has promised to pay attention to education if elected. Dr. Omede, who addressed journalists in Lokoja, named other sectors that would receive special attention to include health, agriculture, and security. The PDP governorship aspirant who formally inaugurated his campaign tagged Omede Idris Believe 2019 project, said Kogi State with its abundant resources had no reason to be poor. Dr. Omede, a former commissioner of health in the state, said Kogi State was a gateway to many states and should take advantage of the steady inflow of people to grow its economy. That's it on political tidbits. I am Emmanuel Ejin. Over to the anchors for the rest of the program.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. And once again, thanks for staying with us on Politics Nationwide. Now, according to a Portuguese politician and diplomat, Antonio Guterres, he said, when we achieve human rights and human dignity for all people, they will build a peaceful, sustainable, and just world. The Nigerian constitution caters for the rights of its citizenry as it concerns crime, and that's through what's called the Criminal Justice Act. Now, this act provides for the administration of criminal justice system, which promotes efficient management of criminal justice institutions, speedy dispensation of justice, protection of the society from crimes, and protection of the rights and interests of suspects, the defendants and victims in Nigeria. Now, a large number of Nigerians, unfortunately, do not know their rights when it comes to arrest, when it comes to search. So, what are the criteria for arrest? Can a person refuse arrest in Nigeria? Under which conditions should a citizen ask for a search warrant? These and more be our focus today as we take a look at the topic citizens' rights and criminal justice system. So you're right. The program today is about you as a citizen of Nigeria. To discuss the topic, we have the right people in the right place. We have Barbara Megiri, Program Manager, Partners West Africa, Nigeria. Barbara, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Also with us in the studio is Kenechukwu Agu, his Project Officer, Network of University Legal Aid Institution. Kene, good to have you on the program.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's begin. Barbara, now I'm glad that both of you are Nigerians, so we won't be speaking as foreigners. We're talking on what concerns us as Nigerians. We have a guiding principle, a guiding book in the country. It's called the Constitution. Now, though Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended provides for a list of fundamental human rights, some of these rights, Barbara, are often observed in breach in the national criminal justice system. And one would be wondering that some of these rights, when they get abused, you're thinking about rights of freedom of movement, rights to fair hearing. Most of the time you do something and they tell you you have no rights to talk at all, especially those that are detained indefinitely without trial, and the right to personal liberty. Now, I'd like to ask you, Barbara, how has the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 addressed this abuse of rights?
Thank you so much. I think the Administration of Criminal Justice Act is one of the revolutionary laws in Nigeria, and it's also recognized across the globe as a very progressive law, in the sense that it has been able to compress our criminal justice system and into more progressive issues, but also try to bring in the rights contained in the Constitution to ensure that a lot of the abuse that used to happen before is highly reduced. So some of them which you mentioned, issues of deprivation of liberty of persons, issues of detention for a long period of time. For offenses, sometimes people face they're detained for longer time than the sentence for that particular offense. And lots of issues of search, issues of what are your rights as to bail, can you be bailed for certain offenses. So I think the law has tried to compress also the practice or the laws that we had before in the south and then in the north. Another progressive thing about it is the issues of non-custodial sentences. So the law now tries to say not all offenses should people be detained in prison. There are things that we can serve community sentences. So for instance, why should a young person who has committed a crime be detained? You're 15 years old. Why should you be kept in a detention center? We know how that can affect the person psychologically. Why can't such a person be taken? You know how young persons are. Take the person to that person's community. Let the person sweep the area. At least it's going to impact on us in that community, but it's also going to impact on that child. First is teaching the child what to do, and then what not to do, of course, especially with the crime. And also sometimes you might feel the shame. So that sense of shame, oh, I'm sweeping the community where I live. At least it's impacting on that person psychologically. So I think there are so many reforms that have come in with the law.
As good as these reforms sound on paper, and they sound very good also hearing it from you, but my question is, are they working? Do we understand those reforms as Nigerians? Are they applicable in our system at the moment?
I think we are moving forward, and I think we're expecting it to be too fast. We're coming from years back, before colonialism. We're coming from then on. We've moved into the 1999 constitution, apart from the other ones. And then now the law was just passed in 2015, exactly 4 years away from today. So I think the expectations are high, but knowing and seeing what we've done across, I think we're moving, even though we're moving very slow, but I think there's need for improvement. First, like you said, is the issue of awareness. Second is the cost of implementing the law itself. What does it cost, for instance, for the police to be able to arrest you and immediately take you to a judge? What does it also mean if you're in detention for the prisons to pick you? Each individual has a right to be moved from detention location to the court. What's the cost? Can that happen for 180 million? For instance, that's if all of us commit crimes, for instance. You know, so there's also the cost of it. What does it entail for the magistrate to visit detention centers every month? What does it entail for the police to send reports from each police station across Nigeria? That's, if we put it, I know there are more than 700 and something divisions. If you put that, what does it cost for each division to send reports to the Commissioner of Police? The CP sends to the IG sends to the Attorney General. There are several fantastic provisions, but I think the other bit of it is we didn't cost for what it will entail for us to implement the law.
All right, let me come to you, Kenechukwu Agu. You're a project officer, Network of University Legal Aid Institution, and I'm sure you know that under the now obsolete Criminal Procedure Act, police could arrest without a warrant any person who had no clear means of livelihood and who could not give a satisfactory account of himself. Under this provision, the police could arrest such people indiscriminately. In fact, in the local palace, they say, I no follow 2,000 naira. You know, that's very common. So once they ask you, you have identity, and you say no, you get into trouble. Now, my question is, incidentally, the ACJ Act has, as amended, that provision. Now, police cannot arrest a person in place of a suspect, and where actual arrest is carried out, a suspect should be entitled to notification of the cause of the arrest. Has this provision of the ACJ Act actually checked indiscriminate arrest by law enforcement agents, in your view?
Well, to a very large extent, I think it has. Like she said, we are not there yet. We are still going there. At the moment, we still have some states that haven't passed the ACJA Act into laws, because each state has to reduce it to the laws for it to be operational in their states. But in the states, like 21 states that have 23 that has passed these laws at the moment, I think it's helping. But the other thing is, if you don't know you have a right, you won't be able to enforce it. So most of our people don't even know that they shouldn't arrest them that way. Some of the police officers also do not know that this is the position of the new law. So what we do, or what we are trying to do, is to create the awareness. Let the people know that this is their rights, and let the police officers know that they shouldn't do this, and let the police officers also know that the people now know. That way, because knowledge is power, and that way, if I know you shouldn't arrest me in lieu of another person, that is arresting me in place of another person, then I should be able to resist you when you want to arrest me.
But
So
they say, my friends say that it's only a stupid man that will resist somebody holding a gun, because we all know the issues of accidental discharge. But that's by the way. But you said you've been doing some, awareness. And how have you done the awareness? Tell us about it.
All right, as part of the project we are carrying out, which is the Reform Kuje project, a component of it is to make sure that the communities are aware of these rights, are aware of the provisions of the ACJA. And for instance, we are working with the Kuje prison. So for now, we have done an awareness program at the Kuje community, where we had hundreds of people turn out, and we also had some police officers who were present. At that program, people were made to understand that these are the provisions of the right. We worked with students from Nile University, because what we do at NULA, we coordinate law clinics from different universities. And just to say that in this project, we are working with Nile University Law Clinic, Bayes University Law Clinic, and the University of Abuja Law Clinic. So at the end of the project, it's targeted I would have reached out to 3 main area councils in Abuja. That's Kuje, Kwagwalada, and Buari. So for now, we have done that of Kuje, and before the end of next month, we should be in Kwagwalada Area Council. So we have been telling people that these are the provisions of your right. And I tell you, from that day, we had a session of people coming to complain that these are things they have done to them. And we had our students and our lawyers from P1, the public defense officers, talk to them and say, no, this is not right. And we are processing some of the issues at the moment. So I think it's key that sensitization should be done, but it can't only be done by partners West Africa, Nigeria, by NULA Nigeria, or by the partners. We need people to come on board. We need radio stations, we need television houses, we need people to come on board and say, let people know that these are their rights.
All right, so here we are. Radio Nigeria is on board, and we will take this to the street. You've done well by doing Kuje and a few area councils, but let's go to the streets. We took our microphone to the street. Our correspondent is sampling the opinions of Nigerians on the experiences and how they feel about the issue of arrest or search by police on any other law, by the police or any other law enforcement agency. Obalola Amin is on, so let's hear that.
Nobody's above the law. If you are found on the wrong side of the law, there's nothing wrong if you are picked up. But it's bad when a policeman has already made up his mind to frame up an innocent citizen in order to satisfy selfish interests.
I don't think I'm comfortable with how they arrest these days. As we can see, or we have been seeing all over the internet, how the police harass and embarrass people, all in the name of arresting them. Once they see you with a good car, laptop bag, or a good phone, they assume you're into Yahoo. But I believe if you know your rights, the police should not harass you the way they are doing.
The country is lawless. Corruption is more of our law. Investigate the matter, because once you don't know your rights with police, that's just it. Because I've heard people with experience.
They are a little bit civil compared to before. They are better informed now. They are trying to adjust compared to the crude way they go about their arrest. The judiciary too. Most time you will now see it as though it's even higher bidders. It is when you have money and all of that to really prosecute your case or go after it that you will have justice.
Interesting comments on the streets there. Let me ask you, Barbara, you heard the respondents there say the police still give out inhuman treatment in the course of arrest. What do you have to say about that?
I think it boils down to how far we have come. So I still take us back to history. Where are we coming from? We have a police that was set up by a system that was looking at militarization of the country, that was looking at forcing security. Secondly, we have a police act that is 1949. And the police regulations are as old as that. For the policeman, all he or she knows is the law, my own law, the police act and the regulations is what I abide with. Till date, there have been moves to amend the police act that would bring in some of these provisions. We still did not succeed. We're hoping that we would succeed in this current tenure. So for me, engaging with police, I have seen that a lot of times they imbibe whatever their thoughts within their institutions. If we want this to move ahead, pending when the laws and regulations are amended, we need to take these provisions to the police training institutions.
All right, let me find out from Kenneth. Have you engaged the police? You've engaged people, but have you also engaged the police in this awareness movement?
Yes, we have, but only a couple of them. Like for instance, when we were at Kuje, we were with the police station in Kuje, the division there, and they really supported the program. But you know, of course, they were on duty, so all of them couldn't attend the event.
Was the support, you know, there are two types of support. A woman could tell you, you could say, marry me, and she does like this, and she's not saying anything. It could mean, I'm thinking about it. So tell Nigerians, was the support like real, or they're looking at you, one of those lawyer things?
Okay. From the DPO, it was a buy-in. But like she said, the emphasis we should try to do is reach out to their training institutes where these men on the streets, because it's the policemen on the streets that carry out these activities. So these men on the street need to understand, and they need to see that, because most times when they see lawyers, they feel we are coming after them.
Exactly.
That we are coming to attack them.
Yes.
But they need to understand from their own institutions that this law is actually for them. Because if they follow the provisions of this law, it's going to even help them in prosecuting the matters. For instance, there won't be issues of someone saying this statement was forced out of me, because the act says that for every statement you make, the lawyer to the suspect should be there, or even an NGO or anybody of his choice. So if he has people who can say yes, we are there when he made this statement, it makes the police prosecutors' work very easy for him. So I think the buy-in we are getting is not yet what we want, because we want them to take it as their own. The law is not against the police. The law is actually there to assist them in carrying out their activities. So
all right, Barbara, the act, obviously, from what Kenneth is saying, does support the Nigerian citizens.
Yes.
It gives the Nigerian citizens some amount of power. But you heard one of the respondents also say that, in her words, she said the country is lawless, and another person suggested that the level of corruption is also a problem. What's your thought about it?
I think it has to do a lot with impunity. So for a long time, we haven't adhered to the provisions of different laws that protect us against crime, that protect us and ensure our safety as citizens. So for a long time, everybody has decided, oh, whatever it is, I can do whatever I want to do. So she's complaining about corruption, she's complaining about impunity, she's complaining about, oh, I get arrested and then detained, or rather, if I commit a crime, someone else gets arrested on my behalf, which is wrong, which the ACJ is trying to address. Or someone is arrested for contractual purposes, which the ACJA tries to also stop, because it's wrong for you to arrest someone and detain on contractual purposes. So I think it has to do a lot with impunity. These things are, not being adhered to. Another thing I wanted to add with the previous question you asked was engaging with the police. So a lot of us, we do a lot of this capacity building for the police. We recently did for a set in the States, in FCT, but I know several organizations are doing across the country. The emphasis is, as they are doing their everyday training, carry along the ACJ.
Is there results? It's one thing to do
Yes,
the training.
yes.
It's another thing to get results.
Yes, but the results we're getting so far, I tell you, each time you sit with the Nigerian, there's no Nigerian police that does not know Section 4 of the Police Act, because that's where their duties are. And where do they get that provision? From their training. So why can't we carry these laws to the training institutions? As you're learning Section 4, you need to learn that section, this of the law in whatever state you're functioning, says you cannot go and detain someone in lieu of another person. You cannot violate the rights of the person. You cannot torture the person. I tell you, the work we do, Partners West Africa Nigeria works across the country on the law. We're doing adoption in some states. We went to one of the states. You could see that the criminal justice actors wanted a way forward. Some of the Nigerian criminal justice actors are tired of status quo, because it's frustrating. Every day you don't even feel proud of the organization you work with. So like I said, this is 4 years down the line. Our expectations are very high. We want it swiftly.
Okay,
but we can get results.
Before I move to Kenneth, you've consistently mentioned that this is 4 years down the line and that we want this swiftly. But I'm thinking, a child is born at one, less than one, you're taking breast milk, and you're taking milk. At 2, you're still taking milk. I mean, a child's still breastfeeding at 4. That's abnormal. At 4, at least the child should be able to talk. We should be able to see some things that I remember a couple of, just a few years ago, before this act came up in 2015, I made a trip to Mexico and I was with a taxi driver in Mexico. You know what he said to me? He said, "You Nigerian?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I love Nigeria. Anything is possible in Nigeria." You can imagine that kind of feeling about the world. So we need to grow out of this situation quickly, don't you think so?
Yes, I think we need to, and I think this is the time. So we're doing some assessment, like an organization. We're trying to understand what is the level of awareness across the country, what is also the level of implementation with the criminal justice actors. I can tell you that just yesterday we're doing a bit of an assessment. Previously, before now, you would see that adjournment of cases could take like months. But we're seeing a bit of change. Like I said, it's not fast. I would have loved to see the two weeks interval of adjournments by judges. But you'll see in some of the states, there are some particular judges that are adjourning every one month. The requirement of the law is 2 weeks interval. We're also seeing that some of the chief judges are also assigning cases. So when you file a matter, a case is filed in court, the chief judge is required by the law to try and assign to a particular court within 15 days. We're seeing that in 2 particular states, precisely, and let me just be frank, precisely the FCT chief judge is assigning within 15 days. On those state chief judge is assigning within 15 days. So there are some progress that are coming on, like I said, not holistically. And before 2015, we weren't seeing this. So we're getting somewhere.
All right, we're getting there. He says, "Kenny, you're itching to talk." But you do that just after the break. The program is Politics Nationwide. We'll take a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Politics Nationwide will be back shortly.
Let's have some peace. Nigerians are peace-loving and hard-working people.
And countries only develop and grow when there is peace and stability.
There are different kinds of problems in every society, and so in every country.
If there are problems here, Nigeria is not an exception.
There is no society, no country where violence and public disorder has solved that problem.
No matter the problem, no matter the issue.
Let us sit down like brothers and sisters. Use dialogue to resolve the problems.
Remember, you have to give account of every action you take, if not here on earth, then before your creator.
Please let us work together for a peaceful Nigeria. Let us work together. Nigeria will be great.
Stay with the movers and shakers of politics in the country.
That's right, you're live with the movers and shakers of politics in the country. The program is Politics Nationwide. It's on the network service of Radio Nigeria. My name is Tokwe Ojebe. Today on the program, we're taking a look at something that concerns us all, citizens' rights and criminal justice system. And this is because of a lot of things happening, especially after the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 has come to be, and yet some of these things we're not seeing them work the way they should be. We have Barbara Beigeri, Program Manager, Partners West Africa, with us. Thanks for joining us, Barbara. We also have with us, and we're glad to have Kenechukwu Agu, Project Officer, Network of University Legal Aid Institution. Thank you, Kenneth, for being here. So we have you, and you to also be part of this program, and you can do that by joining us via social media. We are live on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network, or just search Radio Nigeria FRCN, and you'll find us live there. Your comments can come in live. WhatsApp is 0705 864 2473. Facebook will give us some responses, as we'll also be getting ready to take phone calls. We have Mohammed Agui. He's asking on Facebook, please can you guest kindly list those states that have signed the new law? And from Owerri, Dr. Mrs. Maolebara is also asking, do we really have rights in this country? What a question. Do we really have rights in this country? She says, our rights are trampled upon and abused. A big question indeed. And he says we're good at making policies, but implementing them is where the challenge lies. What do we do in a situation where inmates are often subjected to inhuman and degrading treatment in violation of human rights? Is it fair, she asked? Who pays for this injustice? So a lot of questions coming up. We'll be also giving you opportunity to join us via the telephone lines shortly. The question that we'll also be finding about is some of the ones that have come up. For instance, there's a project in Kuje prison that we mentioned the other time, Kenneth. I'd like you to tell us more about that project.
All right. The Reform Kuje project is a project that the U.S. government, by their, one of their departments, the INL, has come to support the government of Nigeria to reduce the rate of pre-trial detention in Kuje. The project aims at three things. One is to support and improve on the case management system, which is operational in Kuje prisons. Two is to provide legal representation for pre-trial detainees. And three is to provide coordination between criminal justice sector agencies and to create awareness of this ACJA. So in summary, the project tries to see how they can use the ACJA to reduce the rate of pretrial detention in Kuje prisons. So on the project, we are working with four main partners, New Rule in the US, Partners Global in the US, Partners West Africa in Nigeria, and the Network of Universities Legal Aid Institution, NULA in Nigeria. So we are working with three universities, like I mentioned earlier, University of Abuja Law Clinic, the Nile University Law Clinic, and the Bayes University Law Clinics. The law clinics work together with pro bono lawyers. At the moment, we have 76 lawyers who volunteered to work on this project pro bono. And I can tell you we have at least 56 ongoing cases in the FCT. We have been able to secure the release of 10 persons. 10%, yeah. Some were struck out for want of diligent prosecution. And you were asking the other time what the ACJA has done.
Yes.
The ACJA is the major tool that we are using to do this. And one of the things that we're also doing in the project is to, with the project, we can be able to say this is what the ACJA can do and has done in Kuje prisons, and we'll see how it can be reproduced in other states. So as part of the project, there's exchange learning of learning between students of Nigeria and the students from the Georgetown University and Maryland University.
There was a question earlier that asked how many states have actually taken this?
23 states.
23.
At the last count, yes, 23 states.
So we're making progress.
Exactly.
Okay, let's make some more progress. We'll take calls right now, and the numbers that you can call, we have 08076226771. There's 07051493324, and there is SMS, which is 081126593321. So we'll wait for some calls to come in. Okay, we have someone on the line now. Thanks for joining us. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello there.
Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
also Politics Nationwide.
You're welcome. Go
Bishop,
ahead.
This is Bishop Victor from Sabogida Ora.
You're welcome,
I greet
Bishop.
all of you there.
Yeah.
My scripture makes it very clear to me that my people perish for lack of knowledge. I think the problem we have in Nigeria today is that almost 3/4, if not more than, of the populace do not have their constitution, do not know their constitutional rights. And that's why anybody, any police officer can just stop anybody and tell the person that he wants to search his handset, he wants to search anything at all, which is very, very wrong. And even the policemen themselves, majority of them, they don't even know the constitution. And that is why we need to give them some sort of training. I want to make it very clear, and I want to commend the efforts of the civil society, especially in Edo State here, where they organize what they call study lectures or study centers, where they lecture people concerning the constitution, concerning their fundamental human rights. I think all of that things, the civil society is there to emulate them. Thank you. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Isa. Okay, we'll take some more calls as they come through. Now, Barbara, I'm also aware that the Act provides that if you are to be searched, especially in your house and even your car, you have a right to ask the policeman to be searched first, just so that you're sure they don't plant anything in your house. But would you advise someone to do that with a policeman facing you with a gun in the hand?
What we always tell Nigerian citizens is you need to be alive for you to do all other things. So if you are in fear of danger, so for instance, imagine if you're the only one within that premises and that is happening, I think the first thing is just to obey the law enforcement agents. And then when you get to the police station, you can then possibly get a lawyer, which the law says the police is supposed to give you information about a legal lawyer, a lawyer that can defend you. So for instance, you have the Legal Aid Council, you have several organizations, even Partners West Africa Nigeria provides pro bono services to persons, and NULA is also currently doing that. So we always advise you need to be alive first before you even enforce your own law
So
rights.
don't enforce and die in the process.
And die in the
really
process.
a lot of people have. We have someone online right now. Thanks for joining us. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello there.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Odazi. I'm reaching you from Ilada State.
You're
Good
welcome.
morning, house.
Good morning.
We are working so hard to put rule of law in the back burner, especially the highly placed Nigerians.
That'll be the front
Most of our prisons are overcrowded for awaiting trial issues, especially young people and the poor citizens. Some states have not domesticated the criminal law, the Act, due to lack of awareness and political willpower to do so. Rather than hurriedly dump every imagined offender into prison, the law enforcement agencies, especially the police and the judiciary, must complete investigation before trial. We don't try people before investigation. It's an anomaly. And then arrests are made. The police needs to be sensitized, and the judiciary should stop prolonged adjournment of cases. The money used to finance and feed these awaiting trial individuals should be redirected to rebuild most of our prisons that are in dilapidated states. Most of them are so sorry to see. And then you keep people there, and it looks like a pig's den. That is not acceptable. We all have to wake up to our responsibility. And some of the people like Katio, for example, is doing a good job in the Southeast and aware of that. Others should follow suit. And at least let's keep talking about it. It's sensitizing our citizenry and the police, the lower cadre of the police, the prosecutors especially. They need more educated. Right. They need more education. Yeah. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria.
Well, a lot of talk around what we're talking about really concerns the police, and I think it wouldn't be fair if we don't hear from their side. So hopefully we hear from them on this program or some subsequent program. But it would be good to have the police also do their part and to also know what they're doing, so we're sure that what we're talking about is really going down. You can see that Nigerians are concerned about the ACJ. Now, another prominent provision of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act is Section 9, which has to do with search of arrested person, where a suspect is arrested by a police officer or private person. The officer making the arrest, to whom private person hands over the suspect, may search the suspect using such force as may be reasonably necessary for the purpose. One would want to find out what the essence of the search will be, but that's after this call. Let's find out who's online now. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hello, good morning. My name is Paula.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm calling from Kwara State.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Right. My question, I know you've been talking about the police force, and I guess, agencies like the EFCC are guilty of some of these same offenses. They willy-nilly, arrest people without warrant. They get overzealous. They arrest individuals. They arrest heads of departments of government agencies. And at the end of the day, they realize they've made mistakes. And they haven't gone out, to make proper apologies to these individuals that are concerned. Is there a way this can be tackled? Do people not need warrants of arrest from agencies like the EFCC? Or are they just out there to carry guns, go out guns blaring to people's homes, to people's offices, and bundle them to their offices?
Okay, before you go, what's your full name? Ola who?
Sorry?
Your full name. Tell us your full name, would you please?
My name is Bola Adio.
Bola Adio. All right, thank you very much, Bola. Thank you very much. So let's see if we can take one more call. Thanks for joining us. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Chief Jude Obadi. I come from Duchess of the Rimo State.
You're welcome, Chief
Certainly,
Jude.
the suspect is presumed innocent until otherwise proven by a court of competent jurisdiction. It is in this regard that I condemn in the many ways which suspects' rights are being infringed upon with reckless abandonment in the country, which includes demanding of money before bail is granted, or outright refusal for one to be bailed, brutalization of suspects, and unwarrantedly extrajudicial killings, among many others. I therefore call on human rights lawyers, legal aid counsel, and others to take proactive steps to ensure that people's rights are not being infringed upon with impunity in this country. The National State Orientation Agency should collaborate with the media houses, faith-based organizations, NGOs, and others to educate Nigerians on their rights and take steps to ensure that they are not being infringed upon recklessly by others. The federal government is called upon to set up an independent body to oversee to the protection of people's rights in the country, and then prosecute culprits of this, including police personnel and others, as the law is not respected of anybody. Our judges and others are invested with the responsibility of prerogative of mercy are called upon to visit our prisons and police cells. And make sure that maybe those who have overstayed are released without any more delay. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chief Judy Baja. From the social media, Jos Plateau State, Alaku Dennis says a right not known is already a right violated. There should be national templates on awareness of human rights. The media should be championing the campaign in collaboration, especially with the Nigerian police, the National Human Rights Commission, human rights activists, the courts, NGOs, and other spirited individuals. Francisco Nuhu Ode from Karimo Road, Abuja says, please, I'd like you people to remind us about the fundamental rights. I don't really think those rights are respected in this country, Nigeria. Emeka Omeye from Enugu is asking, what's being done to ensure that cases of awaiting trial are treated on time to reduce congestion and suffering of innocent persons? You'd like to respond to some of this, Barbara?
Yes, I would like to respond first. You want to know your rights? Since we don't have time, just check chapter 4 of the Constitution. It directs you on the specific rights. There were other questions that were asked on adjournment. So far, our work has shown that adjournment is not because of one of the agencies. It's coming as a result of all the agencies. So sometimes the defendant asks for adjournment for one reason or other, ill health. Other times for reasons beyond maybe their control, the prosecuting agencies also are asked for adjournment. The judges, there are times that we even demand that judges come for programs, awareness training programs. A judge would then have to adjourn his case to be at that training.
And they come.
And they come for the training. Okay. So, and then the judge is supposed to be seated, yet we want to improve their capacity. So just for us to know that adjournment so far we're seeing in our work, because we're doing a particular assessment and we're seeing that it's not one agency that is responsible. You can also enforce your right. There was a question on what do we do if our rights are violated. Yeah. Fundamental human rights. A lot of NGOs that work on human rights can enforce your rights. What you use is chapter 4 of the Constitution and the Fundamental Human Rights Procedure Rules. As a citizen, if you want to do that, you can, but most times they advise you get a lawyer so that they can package the thing very well for you and enforce
you.
Don't get killed in the process. And get your own rights. Then arrest without warrants. The law allows arrest without warrant if the...
In some circumstances.
Yes, in some circumstances. If the particular arresting person is seeing you committing the crime at that spot.
I asked earlier, where should force come in?
Force is only when you are about to run away, when the person is carrying out the arrest. The law provides that. So if you are resisting arrest. Yes, when you're resisting arrest, the officer can actually forcefully handcuff you. Yes, and it's reasonable.
Force.
Yes, so
not
when
maximum
yes,
force.
so when we see someone is being beaten on the floor and injuries, I mean, you will begin to wonder, is that reasonable? So the person can arrest without warrant if he or she sees you committing the act. Of course, you don't expect the person to go and get the warrant first. The person would have.
All right, we're running out of time. Kenneth, one of the callers mentioned that EFCC, ICPC, and some other agencies are also involved. And for all these agencies, the police is also involved. Your comments very quickly in 30 or 40 seconds, if you can.
Okay, yes, the Act does not specify only the police. The act says arresting agencies and detaining agencies. So it covers those organizations, right? We have seen in cases where people don't do investigation. In Nigeria, we don't do investigation.
So all these agencies are covered. Okay, very quickly before we go, are there phone numbers to reach lawyers in Kuje prisons for pro bono services? Our job on Radio Nigeria is to help Nigerians get their rights done. So we'd like to know those numbers if you have them. Are they possible? Quickly, you have about 30 seconds to give us the numbers.
Yes, before the numbers come in, I wanted to say that if you want to see the states that have domesticated the law, you can go on www.partnersnigeria.org. You have a particular icon that says ACJL tracker. You see all the states.
All right, the number.
The number is 092900609. 092900609.
And that's it on the program this morning. Wish we had more time, but it's something we'll surely try to talk about some other time. Let me thank you very much. Barbara Megari, Program Manager, Partners West Africa. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And Kenechukwu Agbu is Project Officer, Network of University Legal Aid. Thanks for your time on the program.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to everyone who's been part of the show this morning. Muja Kucha, Omotola Oguneye, and Timothy Bamidele online team. Thank you very much. Join us on Thursday for another program. Mary Wosu was the studio manager. Engineering crew was led by Onyechi Wanwe. And we had Adiola Benson coordinating the ICT. Emmanuel Ejim, Yosi Adel, Omolola Amin, Magdalene Ishaya, and Glory Tara assisted in production. Team of producers, Sani Suleiman, Pato Zeli, Salim Akindele Rock, Dan Edeb, Rosalind Gaba, and Bosse Jelihai. My name is Tokbe Ujime. Thanks for your time. Know your rights, but don't die in the process. Be wise, as you heard Barbara say. Bye for now.